Okay, today we're going to be going over the 106.08.13 IMS Pro Toolkit. These are more tools that were invented, developed by Flat Six Innovations, and then manufactured by Ellen Engineering. You can buy these tools at ellenengineering.com. They will help you with your IMS retrofit preventative package work or your do-it-yourself efforts. Okay, for instructional purposes, we're going to unbag all of this and lay it out in the order that it is in the kit, and we'll go from there. Okay, getting started here, I'm kind of going to go over these in the order that they would be assembled together or used together. First things first, when you're starting an IMS procedure, you've got to put the engine to top dead center. That is what this lock does. This lock goes in the teardrop-shaped hole on all M96, M97 engines, with the exception of a 97 Boxster, which is not a teardrop-shaped hole. This tool will still work. You just have to pay attention to your top dead center markings to make sure you are at the proper location. So once you achieve top dead center, this passes through the crankshaft pulley into the crankcase and locks it into place. So that is that tool. Once you've got the crankshaft locked in position, the next part of your procedure is to lock the camshafts. If you're working on a 5-chain M96 engine, this will bolt into the cylinder head and go in the back of the camshaft on the exhaust side and lock that exhaust cam into position for the IMS procedure to be carried out. The same thing goes for the 3-chain engine. If you're working on a 3-chain M96 or M97 engine, obviously all M97s are 3-chain, then you would end up using this particular tool that locks into both the intake and the exhaust camshafts and holds them during the procedure of IMS retrofit. So with the crankshaft locked with this tool and the camshafts locked with either of these tools, it will help you facilitate the IMS retrofit procedure without worrying about compromising camshaft timing. So once you've got the camshafts locked, the next part of the procedure is always extracting the original bearing once you get to that point of the job. And to do this, we actually use a threaded rod, as you see here, that passes through a billet steel housing, and this will set on the back of the intermediate shaft. And then the center stud of the intermediate shaft is then adapted with either of these two adapters that you see here based on which engine you may have, or if you're pulling out an existing Ellen Engineering retrofit kit or whatever. Okay, so the next part when we're doing this is to adapt over the threaded rod, as you see here, to whatever intermediate shaft bearing we're going to extract. In this case, we had an original M96 IMS bearing. It has the original thread there, so this would basically thread directly onto the original IMS bearing. And then you're able to tighten this nut, which then in turn puts force on the back of this particular housing here, and then that extracts the bearing, okay? Now, like I said, there's a couple of different ones of these hex adapters based on which IMS bearing you have. And there's also a supplemental toolkit for the M97 that you can see in another unboxing video that has yet a third one of these for the M97 bearing specifically, and it also has a different housing for the M97 bearing specifically, but it does reuse the threaded rod, okay, just so you understand all of that. This is a bearing driver for the retrofit intermediate shaft bearing. So when you're putting your new bearing into the engine, you can either choose to use our faultless tool to do that job, to mechanically deliver it into the engine, or you can drive it in conventionally with this particular tool and a soft-faced hammer. So either of those is acceptable, but this is part of the IMS Pro Toolkit. Okay, here we have an adapter that is used in case you break the center stud of an original IMS bearing during extraction. If that happens, you will knock the original bearing, the original stud out of the bearing, then you will fish this inside the intermediate shaft, and then it becomes a threaded adapter to allow you to take the threaded rod, as you see here, and extract an IMS bearing that has a broken center stud. So we do pull from the center stud. If that breaks during extraction is the only time that you will use this particular tool. In closing, here are the components again that are found in the Ellen Engineering 106-08.13 IMS Pro Toolkit. And you can get all these online at ellenengineering.com.